So, Wanderlei Silva just got knocked the F out. We saw at the Spartan Fight Night 2, I believe the event was called, Wanderlei Silva in the main event, who was supposed to be fighting Vitor Belfort, who instead was fighting this other guy whose name I can't even remember, right? And was a lot smaller than Wanderlei too. I think this guy weighed in at like 165, and Wanderlei weighed in at 200 pounds. I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, or even 185, 186. What? Because Wanderlei wasn't even a big 205er actually, but so you could actually make 185 pretty easily. But yeah, it was a very weird fight. It seemed like from very early on in that fight, Wanderlei was getting frustrated and sort of outboxed. But I've not seen the full fight. I've only seen the highlights, right? I don't even know how many rounds this fight went. That's how quickly I saw the highlights. What I really wanted to talk about was what happened after the fight. Wanderlei tried to throw headbutts, which is why he looked frustrated. Like, what's this dude doing? Trying to throw headbutts in a boxing match. Fight gets sort of stopped, and then everyone starts flooding into the ring. Jesus, I'm in my car. There was nearly a car crash between these two cars. Jesus, but whatever. Wanderlei. So some other guy comes into the ring. Well, not some other guy. Multiple other guys came into the ring, flooded the ring. Coaches, agents, managers, whoever the fuck, right? One dude comes in and just bangs Wanderlei in his jaw, just check hooks him, boom, and puts him out, right? Bare knuckle. This dude was not a fighter, as far as I believe. This dude was cage side, ring side, was probably a coach or a manager or a friend. I don't know. Cleaned Wanderlei's clock, puts him out with one punch. And if you've seen the pictures on social media following that, Wanderlei looks like he's broken his nose, black eye, like busted lip, some serious swelling. It looks bad, right? To take all that damage from one punch, as well as he went out cold. His head smacked the ring floor, right? Crazy. And I wanted to say this is the sort of thing you get in unlicensed boxing, but this wasn't even unlicensed boxing. It's just low level pro, poor security. To be able to let that many people in, I get it that event security. Like, they're probably never anticipating for that to happen. Like, have, within the matter of seconds, have, 5, 10, 15 people swarm the ring. Like, it's hard to prepare for that sort of thing. And, it happened really quickly as well. If you look at it in the grand scheme of things, it was literally everyone floods the ring, scuffle, and then one guy, boom, Wanderlei puts him out cold. Insane. Absolutely insane. But yeah. Wanderlei's cooked, but I mean, he's been cooked though. The dude's been well removed from his prime for the last, I want to say, 15 years. I mean, you could arguably say once Pride closed, Wanderlei's prime was finished. If we're being honest. Right, because it's not like Wanderlei, ever went on a crazy run in the UFC. Granted, he was fighting at first pretty much the top guys in the weight divisions. He was. Your Chuck Liddells, your Rampages. Wasn't fighting scrubs at the time. In the grand scheme of things, in terms of, quality and their actual ability, they low-key were scrubs. And Wanderlei was definitely in those conversations in terms of just brawlers that, if they don't knock you out, there's really no other path to victory, where these guys can't really grapple like that. I've got a serious offensive submission game, is what I should say. Because I know there'll be some people like, well, Chuck Liddell could wrestle, or Wanderlei was a black belt, but these guys did not have good offensive submission games, objectively. In terms of, especially in comparison to today's game, which is ultimately how you can, determine if guys are generational, is if they would have been great in every generation. But like I said, guys like Wanderlei, Chuck Liddell, Rampage, they weren't generational because those guys wouldn't have been good in today's UFC, even at 205. None of those guys would become champion in today's game. You'd be lucky if a guy like Khalil is barely outside of the top 5, and he is a far better striker than any of these guys. Maybe not in terms of punch power, granted, but in terms of technique, understanding of the striking game. Khalil's leaps and beyond better than those guys. I'm going on a tangent, but what I'm really saying is Wanderlei's absolutely cooked. Absolutely cooked. Granted, you could be like, it's not really his fault. It was his fault leading up to that in terms of he was getting outboxed and he tried to throw a headbutt, right? It's like, what's wrong with you, dude? It's boxing. You're trying to throw a headbutt. Like, it doesn't get dirtier than that. Like, that's as bad as a deliberate low blow. Even worse, maybe. Way worse, because that's brain damage. You know? But yeah, I don't want to see Wanderlei boxing again. I didn't want to see this fight even take place. You know, if it's Vitor v Wanderlei, at least, you know, stuff like this wouldn't have happened, Vitor v Wanderlei. Right? Because, you know, both guys are professionals and have, you know, seriously professional camps. Although, Wanderlei was running in there. Yeah, let's have it right. Wanderlei was the one that was doing the headbutting. No doubt. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, hopefully, I don't want to see Wanderlei box again. I don't want to see him fight again. He's taken far too much damage in his career. Been knocked out far too many times. Been through way too many wars, way too many brawls. Taken way too many shots to the head. It's just not what I want to see anymore. Right? So, I'd be curious to know what you guys think of Wanderlei. What you thought of the fight. What you thought of Wanderlei getting knocked out like that. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And I'm out. Peace.